And we're live! Hello all and welcome. And I am the Realist Philosopher. So how you all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. This is our second show at the new time. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me. I'll keep doing it anyway because I know it works for you all. In America, it seems the majority of people that are online watching YouTube and Twitch and all those other platforms are in the USA. So I'll keep inconveniencing myself to do it at this time. But oh boy, I don't like this. I'm tired. This is not a good time for me to do this. But anyway, so what's up, everybody? Now, first of all, before I begin talking about any stories, news stories, or what's going on in the world, I want to address something first. Now, I noticed that I lost a couple subscribers to my YouTube channel after my last show, and I think I know why. All right, so let me explain how and why I do and say the things I do, all right? First of all, I'm not a hateful person at all, generally speaking. I don't hate gay people. I don't hate trans people. I don't hate... There's a lot of groups I don't hate. Generally speaking, I don't hate. Hate really doesn't usually serve much of a purpose. There are times when it can be useful, of course. Good, bad emotions. I don't believe that. There's just how you act upon them. So, I don't have hate. But at the same time, I'm not going to put my tail between my legs and run away when somebody presents me with fire. No, I'm going to go grab a torch, light it up, and I'm going to fight fire with fire, okay? That's how I look at things, and I look at the way that the left in America acts and how they take advantage of good, hardworking, oftentimes conservative Americans or people who think they're conservative, or people who are actually liberal-minded as opposed to what they are, which is just a bunch of nut jobs. And they take advantage of those people's kindness. They take advantage of those people not wanting to supposedly stoop to their level, which is absurd. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? I don't want to stoop to your level. I mean, you punch me in the face, I'm not going to punch you back because I don't want to stoop to your level. No. Now, if you're provocative, I'm going to be provocative too, okay? Now, it can get punished because, as we all know, there's a leftist bias all over every little bit of social media out there. Meanwhile, if a conservative is also provocative but tells the truth, instead of spreading the propaganda, the lies that the left spreads, but does it in a way that is provocative, bye-bye! You're out of there. But I refuse. I refuse to bow down and be some simp wimp, show my belly to you, my fat belly. Oh, here, kick me. I'm going to lie on the ground and let you kick me in my gut, right? Yeah, I refuse to be that kind of person. I refuse. Yes, I'm a philosopher, but that doesn't mean I always take myself too seriously. It also doesn't mean that I won't stoop to your level. Stooping to your level is sometimes a very good thing. I don't believe in this. Oh, well, you know, this is always wrong. You can't do that. It's wrong. Yeah, if that was the case, we never would have bombed Japan, and we would have lost a lot more people. We would have lost another 500,000 Americans fighting the Japs when we tried to invade their island, and they would have fought tooth and nail. The little kids would have been running around with friggin' swords. The babies would have had guns. I mean, they would have fought like banshees to defeat us, every single citizen of Japan. So, oh, it's wrong. Oh, you killed all those poor innocent women and children and babies with those nukes. Yeah. They started the war, remember? Okay. And let's be honest here. I have some in-group preference, which isn't allowed anymore if you're white. But back then it was still allowed. So, yeah, instead of losing 500,000 of my family, yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice 500,000 of yours, okay? In a war that, by the way, you started. But if we went by the kind of conservative mumbo-jumbo that these conservatives spout nowadays, oh, can't stoop to their level. No. We would have lost 500,000 or another 1,000,000 instead of ending the war with just those 2 bombs. No. You say something's wrong, you bomb me, I'm going to bomb you. You drop bombs on my civilians, I'm going to drop bombs on your civilians. You see what it feels like, okay? Now, let me explain something to you. These leftists that are running around, they feel they have carte blanche. And they're encouraged by the fact that everybody out there, every one of you backs down. Right? When they start yelling racist, sexist, Islamophobe, homophobe, everybody backs down and just acts like a big wimp. Oh, you said the magic words. Oh, I'm just going to put my tail between my legs and run away. No, I'm going to fight back. If you bring a big mob to my peaceful rally, well, I'm going to make sure I brought a bat with me, okay? Just in case, all right? Yeah, you don't get peace, by just turning the other cheek. No, you get peace by being prepared for war, okay? So I'm going to have a peaceful demonstration, but I'm going to bring a big fucking baseball bat just to make sure it stays peaceful. Because I know you people are nuts. And I'm going to defend myself. I'm a realist. I know how the real world works, okay? I'm not just going to hope for peace, and I'm going to reflect that hope in my preparedness, which will be 0. And then you'll whack me on the fucking head with a bike lock, and I won't remember my fucking name. No. This is the way I produce content. This is the way I approach my content production. I have the same attitude in regards to presenting the truth. These wackos, by the way, think they're presenting the truth as well. It's very interesting. But I'm actually presenting the real truth. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in the way that they would do it. I'm going to be provocative. I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to speak the truth. And yeah, I'm going to ratchet up the, hyperbole a little bit. Yeah, maybe I'll exaggerate sometimes. So what? Look at what it takes to get your people's attention. It's pathetic. You're all just sitting around letting these leftist scumbags take over. The feminists, the homos. Yeah, you should say homosexual. No, I'm going to say homo, bitch. Because you're calling me a cracker. And you're calling me all these racist names. But I'm not going to do the same in return. Fuck you. Fuck you. You'll throw shit at me, I'm going to throw shit at you. You don't win wars by being a pacifist, people. You don't win wars by turning the other cheek. You win wars by fighting fire with fire. All right? I'm usually a very mild-mannered, well-intentioned, and my intentions are well, but I'm a very kind guy, slow to anger, in control of my emotions, but I want to portray a different message and way of delivering it when I do these shows, because I want to wake you guys up to the fact that you need to start inflicting the same kind of behavior and consequences on the left. I'm going to give you an example, okay? So, excuse me. Remember that one incident where that poor white kid on campus, he got accosted by some black kids, and they were harassing him, and of course they only started filming him after they had harassed the shit out of him, and he was yelling that I love white people. White people are great. We built the world. Everything he's saying is true. We built the modern world, you want to go to Africa? I saw this video the other day of some Africans trying to build a plane. They got like hundreds of people together. They couldn't build a plane. They didn't have the brain power, right? They couldn't build anything. And yet, it's not okay to say white people built the modern world, even though we did build the modern world, because the general narrative is that white people are evil. And this poor guy got attacked for that. He got attacked. You know why they could do that? No consequence. And they have no empathy. They don't know what it feels like. They don't know what it feels like to be in that situation and to have a bunch of white people coming in at them. You're evil because you're black. I'm not going to do that because I don't believe that, but I'm going to tell the truth in the same kind of in-your-face, provocative way that you did with that poor white kid. And you'd probably do with me if you had me in front of you right now. Be yelling at me, telling me that it's not okay to be white. You're evil because you're white. What? How racist is that? The correct response, honestly, is to tell these people the truth, but in the same kind of way, with the same disposition and demeanor that they're giving you. And that's what I mean when I tell people you need to fight fire with fire. You can't back down from these people. And you can't respond with this kind of, calm, cool, collected demeanor where they're throwing shit at you and shade at you and you're just, I see. Well, I would like to reply in kind, but I'm not going to stoop to your level. Okay. Well, I'll stoop to their level. You come at me with a knife, I'm going to get my knife, but I'm going to have two. Or my gun. No, I'm not. I'm not going to fight fire with fire exactly. Force with force, yeah, but I'm going to escalate it, bitch. You come at me with a knife, I'm going to have a fucking gun. You come at me with a fucking gun, I'm going to have a fucking howitzer, bitch. I'm going to get a fucking tank, okay? How do you like that? And it'll be last fucking time. You have the nerve to come at me with your lies, to come at me with your bullshit, to come at me with your propaganda, okay? And that's what people should have been doing all this time, since these wacky leftists appeared, okay? Now, before I was a kid, before I was born, around that time, if people like this had showed up on the street, they would have got the shit beat out of them. There ain't no cops being called because, for one, nobody had cell phones, but for another, they would have deserved it. That was social justice when I was a little kid, bitches. Okay? You start saying you hate America and standing on a fucking street corner saying white people are evil, yeah, the crackers are gonna kick your ass. And that'll keep you in line. And that's how it should be. Okay? I'm sorry. And I'm not calling for violence, by the way. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for unprovoked violence. I, of course, only advocate for self-defense. But what I'm saying is that people, in their mad scramble to show how morally superior they are to these wacky, crazy leftists who are out of control, and in contrast, you all want to show how much better you are than them, so what? Hey, they don't think you're better. They already think you're evil anyway. If you're trying to prove how much better you are to your fellows, well, they already know that because you've got the truth on your side. But it's not going to win you the war. You're not going to win. Great, good, you're morally superior. You can feel morally superior with a chain around your fucking neck, swinging a fucking pickaxe and digging up coal for these lazy motherfucking socialists, okay? Because they've destroyed the country, they wrecked the country, destroyed any real industry or mechanisms to get that coal out of the fucking ground with machines. So now they need you to work as slaves for them while they live lives of leisure, as Marx called it. Oh, you were right. Okay. You got to feel right and righteous, and you got to feel better than and superior than. Now you're swinging a pickaxe at a coal mine until you die of black lung in 6 months. How do you feel now? Because you didn't want to stoop to their level. What does that mean, stoop to their level? You mean fight back? Use the same kind of tactics they're using against you? You know what that stoop to their level bullshit is? That's really just a motherfucking cop-out, a way of saying, I'm a pussy. I really don't want to put any skin in the game. I don't really want to put myself on the chopping block. I really don't want to put myself in risk or danger. I don't want to be a target. So I'm just going to use this bullshit excuse that I'm too good to stoop to your level. No, you're not. You're just a coward and a pacifist. And you're going to end up in the fucking ground after they've gotten all the manual labor out of you that they possibly could. Like the fucking Jews. Yeah, white people are the new Jews, right? We're going to end up in big fucking graves until all the leftists that take over, after we've all tucked our fucking tails between our legs, which you already have, by the way. There's just too many of you still for them to take over. But wait, just wait until they've outbred you enough, and then they can outvote you. And then before you know it, you white people are going to start losing your rights in your own motherfucking country. And then before you know it, you're going to have to wear a little star that says, I'm evil whitey. Represents that you're evil whitey anyway. And then before you know it, they're going to be busted in your door fronts and your storefronts. And, you know, then they're going to round you up into ghettos. You think I'm... You think I'm exaggerating now? Do you really? It's happened before. You people just don't get it. An ounce of prevention can be worth a pound of fucking cure. Oh, but no, let's not prevent it. We want a virtue signal to our conservative friends and say that we're better. We don't stoop to their level. I don't know what that means. I do, really. It means you're a coward. So that is my philosophy in regards to how I present information and do my show. Okay? And some of you might think, oh, he's so hateful. He's so rude and mean. I got news for you, bitches. The world is a mean, nasty, cruel, motherfucking place. It'll put a boot heel, a jack thug boot heel on your throat and grind your throat into oblivion until your head pops off your body, okay? Reality is cruel and unkind. And these people saying, well, I'm not going to stoop to that person's level. They're simply in denial as to the nature of reality. Oh, let other people fight the threat. I'm going to be a chicken hawk motherfucker and not do a goddamn thing while advocating something should be done. Bitch, do something. And that's why I'm doing something. And that's why I make this show. And that's why I'm very, very abrasive and in your face. And yes, that's right. Fucking provocative. Gotta wake you people up. Snap my fingers, don't do it. I'll fucking sound off a bullhorn into your fucking ear while you're in bed, because most of you apparently are asleep. You don't see what's happening. So I gotta wake you the fuck up. You guys out there think feminism is the problem? No, it's what feminism represents that is the problem. All of this stuff that's going on in the world today has the same fucking evil source. I'm trying to red pill you to that, wake you up to that, and stop all of you out there, men and maybe a handful of women that actually don't like feminism. Yeah, where are they? I'm trying to wake you up to the fact that you got to start looking at things. Stop looking at things so myopically. It's a much bigger picture, and feminism is one of many tools of an enemy that wants to see you dead and fucking buried. All right. Anyhow, now that I got my cup of coffee, I'm feeling a lot better. Whoo, yeah, caffeine junkie. All right. So what I like to talk about first, I came across a few stories that were just, you know, perfect examples of what I'm talking about. Oh, my God. Listen to this. All right, so there's this one story I came across, and this is some deviant shit. Now, let me tell you something. I believe in deviancy, okay? I think some things should be very, 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 very alternative insofar as a lifestyle, okay? Don't encourage gayness. Don't encourage bisexuality. You know, for the majority of human history, the human population didn't really grow. I mean, now that we've got all this wonderful technology, we've got this wonderful health care, birth rates are up for everybody but white people. You know, infant mortality is way down. So, yeah, our population grows quickly, but people seem to not understand that if you go back a few hundred years, it didn't grow quickly. And the further you go back, the slower that growth was. And the truth of the matter is that now, in developed countries, the best you're probably going to be able to get, and there's a lot of reasons for this, you know, like a 2.1, a 2.1 or something, which is required, I think, to, you know, as a replacement rate or to just maintain the status quo. But yeah, human civilization grows slowly. Human populations grow slowly, and it doesn't take a very big change to society as a whole to tank all of that. And now we have lots and lots of different players employing various modes of attack to destroy our ability to not only replace ourselves and procreate, but to diminish our population. There is a depopulation agenda at hand, for those of you who don't know this. So feminism is one of those tools, right? The trend of the single mother, you know, yeah. One way of taking over control, all right? Now listen to this. Listen to this deviant woman. Listen to this. Woman left exhausted after 7 one-night stands in a single week. Okay, I should open the phones. I forgot to open the phone lines. Okay. Maybe some of you wanted to comment on my rant that I just had. All right, let me see here. Skype. All right, I'm opening up Skype if anybody had any thoughts. But, yeah. Okay, this is some kooky shit. 7 one-night stands in a single week. Hello, what? Okay, so that's crazy, right? I mean, for a woman to do something like that, talk about low self-esteem. And, of course, she's got really, really short man hair. So, you know, feminist. She's not a bad-looking broad, actually, but the really short hair. Yeah. You know, men like long hair because you want a delineation, right? You want some really, really easily identifiable, obvious signifiers of what you are as compared to what I am. That's why men with long hair, I I don't think that's a good look. The mullet and all that. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of women with short hair. Listen to this. Many of us have experienced a one-night stand or two in our time. Yeah. Usually regret it. I can't think of one woman that I actually, have a good memory of that one-night stand. They were usually atrocious human beings. 7 in a single week, though? Sounds fun, but pretty tiring. Let me explain something to you guys out there who... maybe it's because of my intelligence, maybe it's because of other factors, but I don't really enjoy the one-night stand thing, okay? I personally like a longer-term relationship. I like to actually know the person I'm banging, and of course, at the age I am now, I have very little interest in any of this crap, but I can't imagine that being fun. I know, that sounds odd. Maybe when I was 20 or 25, I guess, but not now. So to be honest, sounds pretty tiring, which is pretty much how it panned out for one woman in Australia. Yeah, big surprise, Australia. Before we started with this, let's point out that Nadia Bokodi is not harming anyone. Well, she's harming herself. She's doing that. She's lowering her sexual marketplace value because nobody wants to be with a hoe. She's engaging in consensual sex. Yeah, I love how they start off by white knighting for this broad. This article. And would you white knight for a guy who said the same? I had 7 one-night stands with a bunch of bitches, and it was good, but tiring. Can you imagine the media white knighting for that guy? They'd be calling him a misogynist, an objectifier of women. But it's a woman. Oh, it's empowering. Yeah. She can engage in consensual sex with complete strangers. Right. So she has very little self-respect, very little self-esteem, doesn't really hold herself at a very high level of esteem. Yeah, horrible person. I already don't like her. While satisfying her desires at the same time. Good for her. No, not good for her. In any case, chances are she's not going to give 2 fucks about what any of us make of her choices. I doubt that. Women love to say that, but they really actually care a lot. Otherwise, they wouldn't constantly be going on and on and on trying to get us to believe something that's a lie, that women are strong and empowered. She's empowered! Ah, yeah! There's that word again. And exhausted from all the sex. What a disgusting creature. She's actually not that good looking. Kind of mannish looking. I guess it's the hairdo. But that wasn't always the case. Nadia found herself newly single after her 7-year marriage broke down. Yeah, she put in the time, and, she was getting tired of him. And she was sexually frustrated, really sexually frustrated. She probably picked a guy that worked hard and was too tired to, give it to her the way she needed it or wanted it. What a horrible person. After confiding in a colleague, she was told to message a guy suggesting no strings attached sex, asking him outright whether he was down to fuck, which means, oh, God. I've never gotten a message like this. Well, I think I've maybe a few times gotten messages like this from a woman, but I always turned it down. I have no interest in being with somebody like that. That's a horrible human being. Not to mention the fact she might rob you. You don't know anything about these broads. And what am I going to do, pay for a hotel room? It's not worth it. I care about the money more than her. It's not really that important to me at this point. Nadia took her pal's advice and found herself embarking on a week-long journey of steamy one-night stands and admit she was exhausted at the end. Well, why do it? I don't understand. Why would you do that? What's the point? Are you trying to prove something to someone? Is it yourself? I don't know what that would prove to you, that you're a whore. What are you trying to prove? Something to other people? I thought you didn't care about other people. This is really weird. This is what modern-day women have become. This is what I'm talking about. This is the majority of Western women. Just low-rent hoes that you wouldn't want to be the mother of your kids in a million years, so you don't have kids. And by the way, the white replacement rate, you're thinking to yourself, well, we get all these mothers having kids out of wedlock, single mothers and all that, so white people must be having lots of kids and replacing themselves. They're not. I think it's like 1.5 or 1.4 or something in America. It's well below replacement rates. I mean, our population, because of feminism, if we weren't importing all these low IQ morons from Mexico and Somalia and Africa and shit, our population would have went down since 1970. Which, of course, would mean a hell of a lot more jobs, which would mean much better pay. And then once people were making more money, then they might actually start having kids again. We can't have that. Let's import a bunch of morons to keep the cost of labor way down. Yeah. All right, so... Oh, my God. On Monday, Nadia found herself betting Lisa, a 30-something woman who radiated sexiness. She's banging broads, too? Strange. By the way, call in and let me know what you think about this. You ever met a broad like this? I think they're all like this. Maybe not all bi, but this chick is nuts. There's something wrong with this chick. The number's on the screen, by the way. Maybe some of you are listening instead of watching. All right, so the call-in number is 623-242-2517. That's 623-242-2517. 1-623-242-2517. Nadia. The sex-positive journalist wrote, she treated me like a tantalizing meat, best enjoyed slowly and purposefully. Her soft hands finding their way to long-forgotten crevices of my body. You couldn't have that with your husband? This woman strikes me as the type of person that creates her own problems, right? Don't communicate with your husband. Don't tell him what... Oh, we have a caller. And the person hung up. Hello, Greg. How are you?
Doing good, Philosopher. How you doing?
I'm all right. A little tired today, but I'll manage. So what do you... I can hear myself in the background. You might want to turn down...
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, let me tell you something about these bitches, man. If women are such empathetic creatures, she wouldn't be cheating on her husband like that.
Well, I think she divorced him. But she divorced him because he wasn't giving it to her the way she wanted him to. But the thing that I find shocking, beyond the fact that, you know, she's married, but she's complaining that she's not getting sex, which tells me she's got a problem with communication. That's most women these days. They say they're not getting what they want. They don't feel fulfilled. Well, why don't you just communicate to your husband? But the other odd thing about this chick is that, I mean, seven dudes in 7 days. I mean, women. This is crazy to me. She does this. Why? What's the purpose? I don't understand this. This is very odd. It's so strange. I don't get it. I mean,
it's like I always say. They got a mouth, but they don't use it. They use it for the right way, as I usually say. But shit. Well, say something.
Well, they should be using it for something that might actually keep them in a long-term relationship instead of just yammering about useless shit. But, I mean, she's not a bad-looking broad, but I don't know. I mean, this is the problem, in my opinion. Women have started taking sex. They're trying to be like men, right? I mean, they're trying to be as casual with sex as men are, and they think it can work for them because men and women are equal, right? We're the same. There's no differences. Everything is a social construct. But this is the problem. And I would be willing to bet that this broad, before she married this dude, that she had banged a lot of dudes then as well. So she lacks any real capability of bonding or having any real close emotional connection with a guy. So she can't pair bond, which would explain why when she was married to him, all she cared about was sex. Because there was no emotional connection.
Yeah, it's like you said before, virtue, and I don't see any virtue with this woman. She's just spreading her legs for every dick Tom out there, and then when Poindexter comes along, she wants to settle down, but she's going to resent the guy because she can't pair bond with him.
Right.
I've seen this a lot with guys.
Yeah. It's listen to this. This is hilarious. Mentally, I committed not to sleep with one of these guys and get to know him first in hopes of lining up another date at the end of the evening. But 2 cocktails and an hour of listening to his irresistible accent, the idea of delaying what could be a genuinely pleasurable night of sex in the mere hopes of securing an elusive second date began to appear futile. So she just banged him and never got back to him.
Yeah, some of these women have funny ways of wording that I just banged that guy the other night and just go on with their life. It's crazy.
Isn't that odd? I mean, do you talk like that?
No, I just say I was with that chick last night and we banged and that was it.
But what I mean is that I find it very interesting that these women hold up as a virtue that they're so able to be casual about sex, and I don't find that to be a virtue at all. In fact, I find that to be a lack of virtue. You take something that I think it should be something that's very serious and have some meaning at least, and you treat it like an old tissue that just toss it away after you've used it. It's like no real consideration for things that have importance in this world, and then they're surprised that there's no good men. Well, I don't see the good men. Where are the good men? I can't find a good man. Maybe it's because you're a toe rag. Maybe it's because you've been used and you've essentially rented yourself out to be used to so many men that you have no qualities that would attract a good man to begin with. And by the way, how many good men are there left at this broad's age in their 30s, right? And if they're, and really, honestly speaking, they're dating 20-year-olds.
Right. I mean, most of these guys, they've been pushed off to the side at the young age, and they just focus on their career. And let's face it, some of them don't have a lot of sexual experience. But this chick, all she's got to do is spread her legs, and she'll get any guy that comes at her. But now that she's made mistakes and expects that same man to come with her, come on, let's be real here.
Well, I see some sadness in this woman's future. I mean, yeah, she's banging a lot of guys. How old is this chick? 30-something? Oh, God. She's over 30. Yeah, she's in her 30s. Reminds me of that Amy Horton chick. I mean, good God. I just saw an article from her. I think I might have to talk about next time. It's really cuckoo, talking about how all the baggage she has, she's having a hard time connecting with some new guy. Yeah, I bet you are. A lot of baggage, all right, honey, including genital warts. Yeah, that makes it hard to find a man. Yeah, that's the kind of baggage nobody wants, okay? I don't want genital warts, so, yeah, she that crazy broad. You remember her, the redhead who, is so stupid that she puts all these fucking articles online about how she's got genital warts and what a whore she is, and then she's surprised she can't find a man. Hey, sweetheart, men dating you, they have Google.
Yeah, all those articles, yeah, they'll find them.
Yeah.
It's just real sad that feminism has just ruined these women, and it's made normal dating completely difficult for a lot of guys. So.
Oh, I remember when I was a young guy, it was totally different. I mean, just go back 30 years. Things have changed, and I don't know if you're old enough to remember that, but I mean, if I were to go back 30 years to, when I was a young guy dating, it was very different even than it is now. It's very hard to explain just how much things have changed in just 30 years. And of course, when I looked at my grandparents and the kind of relationship they had, it's light years apart from what you have today. These people don't have a clue. I'm telling you, the whole goal is to keep men and women from getting together, at least white people. Meanwhile, you get the useful idiots in who are going to be welfare slaves that you can control. Yeah, we're going to encourage them to have kids until they outpopulate the whites. And then we can take over using these useful idiots, as our pawns. And then we'll make sure they have less kids too. But the goal is to get rid of whitey right now. And so, yeah, feminism is a horrible tool. I mean, but it's one of many that's been deployed. And you would think women would wake up to this fact that just these empty shells. She's just running around trying to find meaning in her life by banging dude after dude after dude, and it's not working. Oh, well, imagine that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some of them they just can't look at themselves in the mirror and actually self-actualize to the point that they may be the problem and try to figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, well, they're raised by single mothers. I mean, solving problems is not their forte. Single mother, where's Dad? No Dad! Okay, so Dad solving problems. I didn't get to have a dad in the house and see how he dealt with the world and solved problems. And, I haven't been taught to have virtue, and I won't get a man that has virtue. Probably not. I'll end up raising a kid by myself just like my mommy. Yeah, and then she has no man around to solve the problems, and suddenly she has to do it herself. But guess what? You're not really equal to a man, okay? You're really not. And so, yeah, no introspection, of course not. They haven't learned any of the real skills to be self-actualized adults. Absolutely not. I mean, if there was any level of self-awareness, they wouldn't be making these kind of mistakes. But Come on.
Yeah, it's article after article, and it's becoming more and more often now that these articles just keep posting up, just women just being angry, but they don't look at themselves and say that they're the problem. It's occurring more and more now.
Yeah, and my fear is, that there's not going to be any correction before everything just falls off a fucking cliff. And I really don't see any way that things could be saved at this point. I really don't. I mean, Donald Trump, people think, well, he can fix stuff. But what has he really done since he's been in office? I mean, yeah, he tried to
build that wall.
Yeah, where's the wall? And, he tried he tried. He tried with the emergency, and the Democrats took him to court. And he'll probably win that, but that'll be tied up in the court system for a long time, maybe until his reelection, which he'll probably win because you got crazy broads like AOC running around talking about farting cows and shit. So she's such a nut job. I mean, she's the perfect example of why you don't want to vote for a Democrat. But what do you do after Trump gets out of office? I mean, what has he accomplished? He's improved the economy, yes, but he's done very little, if anything, to stop what seems like unstoppable march of the left. The unstoppable march of the liberal. It just seems to be getting worse, societally speaking.
That's the way I see it. It's just, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it could get any better. All I could do is, prepare and figure out, prepare for the worst kind of situation, because, I don't know, like a hard reset seems like the only way right now.
Yeah, I think so, too. Well, hey, Greg, thank you for calling in, man. I appreciate it. Nice talking to you.
Hey, no problem. Keep doing what you're doing, Philosopher. I'm just hoping a lot more young guys listen to you, because a lot of guys need to start waking up. You say it how it is. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, take care.
Take care.
All right, that was Greg, one of my longtime supporters. Nice guy. It's the first time I talked to him directly. Well, I mean, I've talked to him before, text, but never, voice. Anyway. All right. Oh, my God. You ought to see this picture of this broad that slept with 7 guys in 7 days. Trying to make her look all good. They got her eye has got like a sparkle. They photoshopped a sparkle in. Oh, my God. She's really not that attractive a broad. I don't get it. I really don't. Yeah, let's just devalue ourselves, shall we? Look, a woman's value in terms of the sexual marketplace is in her youth, okay, and her ability to pair bond with a man, because if she can't pair bond with a man, then why would a man get with her? Because she's not really going to feel anything for him on any real biological or deep level, so the only reason she's going to stick around is for resources and material goods. I don't want to tie my cart to that fucking horse. That horse is going to run off with the fucking cart the moment I turn my back to take a piss, okay? And then I'm going to lose everything. Literally. So, yeah, I think men are getting wise to this, but not enough of them. Because, again, they haven't had fathers to teach them the reality. There's been a separation between the wise men of old and modern men. Too many generations now have been without fathers. So the wisdom of the old world dude who knew this shit is gone. Well, I mean, I've got it, but very few do, right? Sages like myself are few and far between. That's why I'm trying to reach as many people as fucking possible, all right? But that's the case. If you find out some broad has banged a dozen dudes, maybe not a dozen, well, I don't know. No, that's a lot of guys. If you're talking to some broad who's 25 years old, you need to know that. Okay, I mean, just ask casually. So, now, granted, that might seem like kind of a crude question. So how many dudes have you banged? Don't ask it like that. Make it a drinking game or something. Or make it find some clever way to get the information out of her. But I mean, if you find out some broad at 25 has slept with 20 guys or 25 guys, I mean, that's just insane. That's insane. And honestly, into the double digits is kind of crazy, okay? That's too many. That means this is a broad that's trying to be a guy. If she's trying to be a guy, she's devalued herself to the point where she really isn't going to be able to stay with you. She's not going to be able to. Look, life has hurdles and pitfalls, and marriage isn't easy. And making a good marriage is difficult, okay? That's why you need a pair bond there. Because if there's no pair bond, the woman's just going to say, meh, I'm not fulfilled. And there's that little box that I can check on the divorce form that says unreconcilable differences. So I'll just check that because it's an easy out. Why is she going to stick around? She's got no attachment to you. Wake up. So Nadia took her pal's advice, found herself embarking on a week-long journey of steamy one-night stands, and admit she was exhausted. What about STDs? Isn't this broad concerned about contracting something or getting pregnant? You know, I mean, a condom isn't a 100% guarantee. Nadia listed off her conquests in chronological order. Conquests? See, this is what I'm talking about. Women don't know a goddamn thing about being men. So feminism has tried to make them act in a way that they think a man should act or does act, but doesn't. I've never used the word conquest for a woman in my life. I had 27 conquests in my 30s. Who talks like that? I've never met any guy that used the word conquest to talk about a broad or broads he bang. But they got this gross caricature of what they think a man is. First up was Ryan. He was cute, but he wasn't really my type. He was enough of your type to bang him. I don't understand. Wait. Of course, she didn't really get to know the guy to figure out whether or not he was her type or not, because she doesn't really care about his virtues and his qualities, because she has none either. And anyway, she doesn't know how to form a real long-lasting relationship anyhow. She's never taken the time to sit down and ask herself, what are my virtues? What are my qualities? And then I'm going to sit down and have long conversations and go on a number of dates with this guy and find out what his virtues and qualities are too. And I'm going to base whether or not we're compatible on those things. And not on, ooh, he's got nice tattoos. Ooh, I like that nose ring. Ooh, he's so hot. Look at those pecs. Yeah. Yeah, that's not what you base a relationship on, ladies. Moments after she sent him a message, he responded with, sure, see you in an hour. It doesn't work that seamlessly, surely. That seems almost too easy. What? Who's writing this? It can't be this Nadia. She seems to know that it's pretty easy to get banged by a guy. What do you mean too easy? I don't understand this. What is this feigned naivete of this writer? Hey, writer, hey, dummy. It's easy for broads to get laid. Even big, fat, 400-pound women. You get these dudes that like fatties. They're chubby chasers. They've even got websites for this shit where women can go and sign up and dudes pay a monthly fee to be on this chubby dating site. I mean, it doesn't matter. Big, small, fat, thin, you can get laid. There's some sites for anorexic chicks that are like, 75 pounds. And there's dudes that are into that too. Necrophilia dudes. They're into broads just laying there and pretending to be dead. There's all sorts of weird shit going on out there. But there's somebody for everybody, especially sexually. Multiple somebodies. Almost too easy. What are you talking about? If this was a guy, then you could say that. But a broad, it's easy for broads to get laid. Following their rendezvous, Nadia found herself sobbing hysterically. In sadness? You should be sad because, you're this low-rent hoe. You don't value yourself at all. Where's your value in yourself? It was in that moment it occurred to me that this wasn't about sex at all. What? Of course she has to say that, right? I don't want to seem low and just base and I want to make it about something more than sex. Not sex. It's about sex. Come on. It was about the liberation that came with it. To have desires met, I'd convince myself were insignificant in the final stages of my failing marriage. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. She wants to be a victim. Yeah, it's this victim mentality. Instead of work things out in my marriage, I'll just play the victim card so I can have an excuse to go out and bang a bunch of dudes. That'll fulfill me. Yeah, liberated. Oh, you were, what is this liberation? Were you a slave? This is so comical to me. This broad talks about she got liberated. Bitch, when were you in captivity? You were married to some guy that had money. I'm looking at her clothes. I'm looking at the ring she's wearing. I'm looking at her hairdo. She was with a dude that had money. And she's complaining about there being no sex because guess what? He was out working his ass off so you could have nice things. But you didn't marry him for the sex, did you? You didn't marry him because you felt a bond to him. And if you had an emotional bond to him, the sex would be good because of the emotional bond. But since you're unable to bond with a man, you just want passion. You just want down and dirty, kinky, nasty sex that only fulfills you on a physical level because you're totally, completely unable to pair bond with a man. But you think that's a good thing. And you're liberated. No, you're more of a slave than ever. But you just don't know it because you're dumb. The next evening, Nadia went to a club and pulled a 20-something skater boy. Yeah, the cougar broad. That's what you are. Insecure broad that still wants to think she's attractive. 20-something skater boy called Ted, who gave her one of the fastest orgasms of her life. Way to go, Ted. Yeah, we're here to serve you. That's right, honey. Way to go, Ted. Cunt. Sunday night arrived with a fella called Matt, a perfectly proportioned Navy diver. I'm seeing a theme here. Navy diver, 20-something skater dude. It's almost as if she only cares about the physical and objectifies men. Yet somehow I thought women don't do that because they tell you women don't objectify men. It's men that objectify women. Again, Nadia sent the DTF message. His response, yeah, come over at 6. Here's my address. Well, yeah, we're easy. Men have always been easy. I don't know where the writer's surprise is at this. Then on Monday, she's probably a big, fat, ugly hoe, this writer. And she actually has to make a little effort to get laid. This easy method don't work for her. She has to go to a specialty website where, guys are looking for fat women. Then she'll get the DTF, but not on something like Tinder or something. Then on Monday, Nadia found herself betting Lisa. Next up was handsome Charlie, who turned out to be her sexual soulmate. They did it as many times as the night would allow. Now we're realizing why she was bloody knackered. On Wednesday, Nadia went on a date with a cute Army guy called Steve. Navy, Army, handsome Charlie, 20-something skater dude. Does anybody get the sense that this woman is extremely shallow? Anybody get the idea that this woman is about as shallow as a puddle and that there really isn't very much to her and a total lack of virtue? You look at the types of relationships people have or have had, you'll get a very good idea of what type of person they are. If they've had long-term, meaningful relationships, not a lot of any one-night stands, that probably will tell you that they have some level of self-respect, some level of self-esteem. They have some idea of their value and what they're worth, and they wouldn't devalue themselves by just being, as I said before, a toe rag. Rag you take the shimmy between your fucking toes and clean out the toe jam. No, they value themselves more than that. They don't pass themselves around. Oh, my Lord. This is just so sad. And the really sad part is this is pretty indicative of how women have become. And you know what the result is? This next article is the result. This is even funnier than the last one. Oh, boy. So this Nadia brought in 10 years. This woman got bored of waiting for Mr. Right, so she married herself. This seems to be a new trend, this self-marriage thing. I don't know how this works exactly because, the definition of marriage is you and another person, not you and you. How do you marry yourself? I don't know how that works. But, I guess if you're like a solipsist, then, everything can be okay and acceptable. It works, right? I'm creating my own reality, and in my reality, I can marry me. Okay. Not a bad-looking broad, actually. It's her marriage day to herself, so I guess she's really lathered on the pancake makeup, but, good-looking broad. So a woman has married herself after she got bored and fed up of waiting for Mr. Right to pop up in her life. Pop up. This is the way women think. They think that life is some kind of, train of random events and stuff is just like luck. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that Bill Gates, he just dropped into a big pool of money. Yeah, Scrooge McDuck moved out of his mansion. Right? And there was some hole that, he's walking. Remember that movie, Batman Begins? He's walking along and he steps on the, this old well It's covered by some rotting wood, and he falls down and breaks his leg and is attacked by bats. And that's where he gets the idea to get Batman, because he's terrified of bats and he wants his enemies to feel his terror. Anyway, that's what women seem to think about love. You're just walking along, and you step on a rotten board, you drop down, and up! There's a big pool of money! Scrooge McDuck's secret underground pool that he used to swim around in, full of gold coins. Olympic-sized swimming pool. Which, by the way, would be 1/3 of the gold in the world, because there's so little gold in the world. People don't realize how little gold there is in the world. You could take all the gold in the world, melt it down, and it would fit into 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's all the gold on Earth that has currently been mined, which is partly why it keeps its value so well and makes the perfect money. That and silver. But anyway... So, yeah, women think this. They think that love is some kind of random occurrence. This is nothing you have to do to get it. It just pops up. Like that, what was a clown toy? The fucking clown pops up. Which, by the way, if that's your method of finding men, that's all that's going to pop up. Clowns. Laura Messi, a 40-year-old fitness instructor. Fitness instructor from Italy. Everybody I've met that's a fitness instructor is like the lowest IQ person out there. Granted, there are some exceptions, but usually they got like a 90 IQ, 90, 92 or something. Like half a standard deviation below the average for Whitey. I mean, a fitness instructor... Yeah, talk about aggrandizing the physical. I found that people who aggrandize the physical form generally ain't too friggin' bright. They haven't done a lot of work to develop their intelligence because they don't really have much inherent intelligence to begin with. So, I'm just going to focus on my body. Yeah. Fitness instructor. Made a pact with herself that if she hadn't met the one by the time she hit the big 40, she'd get married to herself. And that's exactly what she did. Yeah, because I'm sure hanging out in gyms all day, every day, and teaching guys that they're as narcissistic and as shallow as you is going to put you in an environment to meet that Mr. Right. Yeah. Not a lot of reflection going on here. Not too much critical thinking. Yeah. You might be in the wrong place to find Mr. Right, sweetheart, hanging out in a gym 6-7 days a week. But anyway... After 20 years of searching, she finally gave up and decided to take herself down the aisle. Only a woman could do this and not feel pathetic. I mean, if a guy did this, he'd be laughed out of the fucking town, off the planet. He'd have to move to the moon. He'd have to build his own fucking space shuttle and fly to the moon and live there. Maybe on the dark side of the moon, where all the fucking conspiracy theorists say there's a fucking alien colony living. Go live with them. Yeah, go live with the Greys up on the fucking moon, on the dark side of the moon. You'd have to go there and do that if you did this as a man. But as a woman, oh, we have to support her and empower her. You go, girl. Yeah, okay. I need to get a cough button. What I need to do is, like, make the space bar a mute. Yeah. When it's pushed down, when it's held down, it mutes. So when I cough. They have that in professional radio studios, a cough button. Yeah. Oh, they got a picture. Wow. Look at this. Okay, so, yeah, like attracts like. I don't see very many fat women. The entire crowd is blonde. Oh, this is interesting. Wow. I wonder why she can't find herself a dude. Yeah. Okay, so I see a lot of women that look decent. Not fatties. I see like one fatty. They all have blonde hair. I'm looking at like 30 people in her wedding entourage, and they all have blonde hair. I mean, you could say it's maybe her family, but geez, talk about a lack of diversity here. So she kind of, sort of tends to surround herself with people who are all pretty materialistic and shallow and focus very much on looks, just like her. Yeah. I wonder what she thinks is Mr. Right, by the way. I would love to hear what she wants in a man. Yeah. And, of course, the things that women want in a man, generally speaking, don't have anything to do with virtue these days. The wedding itself was far from low-key. Yeah, okay. And the blushing bride splashed out 8,700 pounds of her own money on a traditional white gown. White gown. She's a 40-year-old broad, never been married, but done a lot of looking. I think that's the wrong color for your fucking gown, honey. White, you're no virgin, that's for sure. Consequently, maybe if you had been a virgin and valued yourself just a little bit more, you might have actually found a Mr. Right. But of course, that would have required her to actually have some kind of virtue, right? To make up for, you know, the fact that she's not giving it away. I have no value. I don't really have any virtues, so I have to give my poon away. You're telling the world right there that you're worthless, that you have no real value beyond that. Now you're 40. Who the hell wants you? She bought a special ring and even a white tiered cake, which she won't eat because, you know, she's a fitness fanatic, topped with a lone figure of herself. You ought to see this, by the way. The lone figure of herself, it's bigger than the cake. It's just this like fucking gigantic statue on top of this tiny little cake. It makes the cake look so tiny. Literally, it's bigger than her head. It's like a 2-foot tall statue of herself. Self-worship. That's your problem, narcissistic lady. You worship yourself. You're focused on you. A little too much. Yeah. 70 guests. 70? 70 people showed up for this farce? Oh, my God. Also joined her for the big day. And there were lots of food and drink. This must have cost a fortune. She paid for all this? Wow. I was in the wrong business. Instead of going to school and getting educated, I should have just, well, let me be honest here. I look better than this broad. You should have seen me in my heyday when I was boxing. Oh, man. Ladies love me. Oh, man. Yeah, chiseled. But, you know, that's what I should have done. I could have made more money, maybe. I mean, shit, she's laying out 8,700 pounds for a dress, 70 guests, champagne, food, dancing. Oh, my God. She also jetted off on a beautiful honeymoon after the event to Egypt. A honeymoon with who? Oh, herself. Despite feeling happy about this ceremony, Missy also admits, that if she ever did meet Mr. Right, she'd be happy to divorce herself for a real husband. What do you mean divorce yourself? You can't be married to yourself. Okay, honey? All right, I have a problem with her language. You can't be married to yourself, hence, you can't divorce yourself either. Yeah, she'd be... She's like, if I ever did meet Mr. Right, I would leave myself for him immediately. Sweetheart, you're never going to meet a man that meets your very high standards. Not high. Let me explain something to you. Women who reach this age and have never really even gotten close to being married and are so narcissistic that they would even consider marrying themselves, you got problems. Okay? You don't have any virtues. You've got real problems, and you're 40 now. You don't have high standards. You have unrealistic standards. There's a difference between high and unrealistic, okay? You can have high standards if you also have a lot of value, okay? So I can have an expectation to get a Lamborghini if I've got $500,000 in my pocket walking in to the dealership. I got a pretty good chance of walking out of there with a Lamborghini if I went in with the intention of buying a Lamborghini. Now, if I walk in with a scratch ticket, that's a loser ticket, and try to exchange that for a Lamborghini, well, I'm probably not going to walk out with a Lamborghini. So there's a difference between having a high expectation, all right, and unrealistic expectations. This broad has very, very unrealistic expectations. So what does that mean, Mr. Right? Nowhere in this fucking article does it go to any effort, does the person who wrote it go to any fucking lengths to figure out what this woman means by Mr. Right. Now, of course, you know it means 6 feet or taller, 6 figures. Right, because you can't take care of yourself. Even though you just laid out about 30,000, 40,000 pounds for this farce of a self-marriage ceremony. But you need a man to pay for you, right? Because you want to have more mad money. So, he has to be 6 feet at least. Make 6 figures, be hot. And he has to have a great body, of course, because I have a great body. Trait. No virtues. So you only care about physical traits and materialistic traits in regards to how much money he makes, but you don't give a goddamn about what virtues or values he might have and bring to the table as a human being. Methinks I know why you're single and had to marry yourself. Yeah, self-marriage or sologamy Sologamy is a trend that's growing among singletons. Singletons? What the fuck is that? With ceremonies seen in Australia, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdoms. You know, all uber feminist strongholds. British PR consultant Sophie Tanner also opted to wed herself in 2015 after escaping an abusive relationship. Why were you in an abusive relationship? Oh, you picked a man that was abusive. Very poor judgment on your part, but you think you are good guy material. I gotta disagree. Is this a video? No, that would be funny though, but no. Oh my God. So all the bridesmaids are bangable. Yeah. Oh, no fatties. And I said there's maybe one fatty, and I think that's her mom. So that's the future you're going to get if you marry this 40-year-old hag. It's 20 years down the road, she's going to be a blimp. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, and she can't have kids. She's barren. I mean, 40-year-old broad. If I'm a guy thinking about having kids, I got a decade or more on this broad. I'm much older than this broad. If I was going to get married at my age and have kids, I would want somebody that was 30, not 40. Wow. Just see, this is the problem. Women routinely overvalue themselves, and so they go through their whole lives because feminism has told them they have such worth, right? But they value themselves kind of on the same scale that men do. And they try to change reality to fit within their way of viewing the world, the way they want the world to be. But the world is the way it is because that's the way it is. You can't change that. I don't like gravity. I'm going to change gravity. I'm going to make gravity push up so we can all float around and fly like Peter Pan. Because I don't like gravity. Yeah. Sorry. Gravity doesn't fucking care what you like, and neither does reality. But apparently these women think that all these things are social constructs, that men liking women that fit a particular body type, and that a woman's sexual marketplace value lies in a number of different things. One of those things being her body, and other things being the virtues, the values that she brings to the table. Oh, no. No. No, I'm just going to, make some money and, have no virtues or, that you get this career women out there that think that should make a man be impressed. I remember I dated one broad that was a fucking, I don't know what she worked in a bank or something. She was a high up executive. I didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to bang her. I mean, she had some, it turned out she didn't have any real virtues to begin with. So that's why that didn't work out. I mean, it was just a hollow, empty kind of, banging and then go home. She didn't even have any shit in my apartment. Bang, go home. Bang, go home. Yeah, it sounds ideal, but no, it's really not. It's really not. Not really. That might sound good when you're like 20, but once you get into the 30s or 40s, for me anyway. I want to have meaning in my relationship. I want to be with somebody that compliments me very, very closely. This woman, again, I mean, I love how they say Mr. Right, by the way. Like, it's understood what Mr. Right is. There's this definition of what a Mr. Right is. I shouldn't need to explain to you what Mr. Right is. You already know what Mr. Right is. No, I really don't. Why don't you tell me what you think Mr. Right is? Because, I know what I think. By the way, wouldn't Mr. Right be different for everybody? I don't understand this. What does she mean, Mr. Right? I love when women say this, Mr. Right, like there's some kind of, man that is a perfect fit for all women. No! He's going to be a perfect fit for somebody, not everybody. That tells you how women think. If a woman uses the term Mr. Right, you know what that means? It means that this woman is clinging to some universal set of guidelines, to some arbitrary set of guidelines that somebody set for her, and she's unable to think for herself. And she's decided on her own at the same time to adopt these guidelines as her own. And all very arbitrary, height, weight, money, income, car, house. She set up all of these very materialistic guidelines that a man has to meet, these requirements, as it were. And if he meets them, then he's Mr. Right. If you hear a woman say, I never met Mr. Right, you run. You run fast. You be like the Flash. You get the fuck out of there. And don't dress up in women's clothes before you do so, like that faggot boy that was in that fucking Avengers movies who was walking around dressed up as a freaking tranny. If you don't know about that, look it up. That guy that played the Flash in the Avengers movies. Not the Avengers. I get those confused. The Justice League. Yeah, the Justice League. Yeah, he dressed up as a homo. Not a homo. Well, I mean, I guess you'd be a homo, too. I think he might be a homo. I don't know. But, yeah, he went to a bunch of award shows dressed up as a broad. But, yeah, those are things you need to look for. I should make a... Yeah, I think I might make another video about red flags. Or I'll talk more about red flags. Maybe I'll do another list of red flags because I didn't cover them all. But that's a red flag right there. A woman using the term Mr. Right. As if there is such a thing. But that'll tell you all you need to know right there. And I'm guessing she's probably a feminist, right? She also had bottles of champagne marked with the phrase, single. So she paid extra money to get special labels made for the champagne bottles. Wow. This broad's got some serious dysfunction in her life. Oh, here's some quotes. This is interesting. If one day I find a man with whom I can plan a future. Okay, cognitive dissonance is in overdrive here. Sweetheart, what future are you talking about? I know we live in a world where people live to be like 80 if they take care of themselves, maybe even 90, but seriously? You know, evolution hasn't quite caught up to our medical technology. You do know that by age 40, your eggs are pretty much gone. And if you are in any way, shape, or form able to get pregnant, that kid, he ain't going to be no rocket scientist, okay? You'll be lucky that he isn't living in your basement for the rest of your life. Which isn't that long, by the way, because, again, you're 40. Well, what future do you think you got? You're 10 years away from 50, sweetheart. Come on. But my happiness does not depend on him. If your happiness didn't depend on being with another person, what the fuck would you be going through this farce of a ceremony, which essentially is you doing something that is usually done with another person? Why would you feel the need to go through this farce of a fucking wedding where you marry yourself, which is symbolic of marrying somebody else, but you're saying you don't give a fuck about marrying somebody else, so you're marrying yourself, essentially in a farce that is designed and mirrors the marrying of another person. Don't tell me you don't care about marrying somebody else or being with a man when you go through this entire farce, which is all about marrying a man. This is ridiculous. I firmly believe that each of us must first of all love ourselves. She thinks she loves herself, does she? How can you love what you don't even know? So she's already portrayed to us an extreme lack of self-knowledge. She talks about Mr. Right, which is a universal label that so many women use to define specific characteristics that they all agree upon in this modern feminist utopia, which means that she's not talking about her Mr. Right. She's talking about a general Mr. Right. Because let's face it, if she had any virtues and she knew who she was, then she would have found a man with similar virtues already, because that's what she would be looking for. But instead, she's focusing on the generic Mr. Right and very, very, very shallow qualities in a man instead of deep, meaningful ones that will actually form a strong, long-lasting relationship, that being virtues, which she has none of, something she's made very clear here by what she's looking for. But you say you love yourself. You can't love yourself if you don't know yourself. How can you love somebody if you don't know them? And you've portrayed that you don't know yourself at all. You can have a fairy tale even without a prince. See, that's the problem. She was looking for a fairy tale. All broads looking for a Mr. Right are looking for a fairy tale ending. And she probably still thinks there is such a thing. Yeah, of course she does, because she already said, if I found Mr. Right, I'd marry him. Mr. Right ain't looking for 40-year-old broads that are completely lacking in virtue or self-knowledge. She goes on to say, this is my fairy tale wedding, only without a Prince Charming. Then it's not a wedding. Oh, right, but you know, you're a leftist, so everything's relative, solipsism. Reality is perception, and I perceive this is a wedding even without a partner. Oh, boy. Everyone celebrates getting together with someone and becoming married, but there's no milestone in society that celebrates escaping something awful or returning to your own happiness and contentment. What? So now marriage is awful and you're escaping? It's strange. This is one strange broad. They're getting stranger by the day. Yeah. Anybody out there still wondering why I don't date anymore? Not too much, or have very little interest in women? This kind of bullshit drama is why. Oh, my God. This chick's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Marrying herself. All right. So, let me know what you think of... What's this broad's name? She's Italian. I'm not surprised if she's from Italy. They got a bunch of mimosas. Or is that what it's called? I don't know what they're called. Mama's boys. Most Italian men continue living with their mothers until, they're like old and the mother dies, and then they inherit the house and continue to live there. They don't ever launch and get married. Has a lot to do also with Italy having a very, very, very low rate of population replacement. And there's a very, very little in terms of available jobs, employment there. Everybody leaves the country. There's not much opportunity in Italy, so the dating pool is pretty small. There might not be a lot of opportunities, but the European Union, she can go anywhere. She can do her little fucking personal trainer thing in Germany and Hungary, wherever the fuck she wants to go. She got lots of different countries she could go and do this personal training bullshit. So there's a huge pool of men, actually, that she can avail herself of. So let me know what you think of this broad who's married herself and the other broad that banged 7 dudes in a week. 7 different dudes. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that she banged 10 times that number before she married the hubby who just wasn't able to satisfy her? Which is why he wasn't able to satisfy her. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like my content, if you like the red-pilled nature of it, the raw and real aspect of what I'm presenting to you, which is pretty much the whole thing, raw and real, 100% of the time, baby, then consider donating by going to therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's therealistphilosopher.com/donate. I'll mention you on my show. You get a shout out, and you'll be helping me continue to make content. I'm not able to do any of this without my fans' support that I greatly appreciate. So if anybody out there can afford, just $1 a month, I mean, well, what's $1? A lot of you out there smoke. What does one cigarette cost $1 these days? Good Lord. Pack of cigarettes is what, $20? It's crazy how much they are. For the price of 1 pack of cigarettes, you greatly help me produce more content and expand my show. I'd really love to replace some of the hardware I use, be able to stream. I stream right now, I think it's 720p. I'd love to be able to stream at 1080, but I can't. My rig can't handle it. And I'm fine with that. I don't use my computer for anything else that requires any kind of output like this. But so I don't really need to get a new computer, except for the fact that I can't produce the kind of content I would like of a higher quality. I'm streaming at 20 feet per second. I would love to stream at 60 FPS, 1080. I would love to produce content without any lag when I produce a video. So it's little stuff like that your donations help, and they also help improve the quality of content that you like. And the better the content, the more people will watch, and the more people that watch, the more people will get red-pilled. And if that's something you want to help contribute to, please consider donating. So again, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. And hopefully more of you call in. Somebody else called in, but they didn't give me enough time to answer. I guess the person who called in before Greg was, got nervous at the last minute. Don't ever feel nervous about calling me, all right? Unless you're a hater. But even then, I'll just bust your balls and you send you packing crying if you're a hater who's come to troll me. But I encourage any and everybody to call. So hopefully I'll hear from you the next show. And also, it's a good idea to follow me on social media. I'm very prolific on Facebook and Twitter especially. So you can continue to get those red pills even when I'm not doing a show. And also, if I produce any new content, like a video or something, that'll be the first place I'll place a notice. So, if you want to keep yourself abreast of any content I'm creating, it's a good idea to follow me on Facebook, Twitter. I'm also on Gab and Instagram. Those links are at the bottom of the screen. And that's it. Hopefully, I'll see you again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.